And welcome back.
We're moving into our final segment for today, and we're sitting down to speak with some young people who have a great initiative. It's the first Belize Peer Helpers Group. And joining us for this conversation, we have Andrew Munnings, Director, Vashti Vicente, Secretary and Accounts, Sabrina Daly, Public Relations, and Cheyenne Dina, Sporting Events and Fundraising. Good morning.
Good morning.
And welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Right. And congratulations on the effort.
Thanks very much.
Where we want to start.
Let's start off, and where did this idea really get its birth?
I guess that's me, right? Okay. July of last year, when I resigned from my job, I said I wanted to do something bigger than myself. I wanted to think about others. So Guidelight Production was indeed created to be a oriented teen TV show where youths would have voiced their concerns and concerns of people around them. But August 2nd of 2014, when Kristen Gladys died, that's the girl that got stabbed up in the graveyard, I said, why don't I create this to be more than just a platform for youths, but more like a whole foundation to not teach youths on how to kill each other, but teach youths on how to help each other. So now that whole dream has shifted, and Guidelight Production is a whole organization now.
How did you actually get people to latch on to the idea?
That was literally hard, because when you have a dream, it's really hard to find people who have the same dreams as you. Not the same, but the same mentality, and want the same stuff for you. So when the bylaws and everything was said, I said, the hardest part now that we find young people with that God-given talent, we're willing to shine out. So like you see here, these are 3 of them, and we are set to go.
Now, that's an interesting route to take, to set up the infrastructure and then get the people involved. Usually it's the other way around. Why did you decide to do it that way?
The thing is, I'm not trying to be selfish here, but I think a lot of stuff gets more, I don't want to say perfect, but perfectly done once you build the foundation for others and then just bring them in to a whole setting, so they could just say, you know what, okay, everything's set up now. That just for me
to come on board.
Yeah.
Now let's find out from these ladies if that's really how it worked. How did you buy into the idea of Guidelight Production?
Well, it fit in well with my career that I'm pursuing, because I'm studying to be a teacher. So I really wanted to work with these youths. I was excited because when Andrew came to me with the idea, I was like, okay, this is God sent. Because I am attending SJCJC doing the primary ed, and while going to school, I was like, I have a lot of free time, so I wanted to do tutoring. So when he came and told me about organization, I was like, okay, great. I get to work with youths and, you know, do my tutoring as well. So this was it was a very good idea. I jumped on it from the start. I love working with children and youths like myself, so I believe that I will have fun in this. It will be hard working with youths, but I believe that it will be very good.
Yeah. For me, I guess I could just say that it was just the right timing and everything was just set in place for me, because I go to SJCJC as well, and I'm majoring in psychology and sociology, and I want to be a child psychologist, so it was like right in my aisle. I also work with children. I work at a drop-in center in Yabra with Love FM, so I deal with children as well. So this was like just perfect for me. And then I also do the weather report, so I like talking. So
PR was best for you.
Andrew knew exactly what he was doing.
For me, I known Andrew from primary school, and I've always been like, every time he comes up with for example, when he started this, he came and told me about it, and I thought, oh, that's a great idea. I would love to be a part of that. And he gave me the position as director of sports, and I love sports.
Because you're an athlete.
Yes, ma'am.
Of course. When you think about working with young people, as young people, are you looking to work with people your own age? Are you aiming for a younger demographic?
Our audience at this point, it's not by age, it's by maturity at this point. Because for example, we have a lot of programs that have been developed for at-risk youth. Youths that give trouble, youths that really need that help and stuff. And through all of that, we tend to forget the ones who are really trying to get that light shine on them, right? So Guidelight Production is that organization set for youths who really, really have that talent and really want to show it out in order to change their peers.
Now, what you're saying is an important consideration. Very often, programs are designed to bring young people who have somehow fallen by the wayside or had a difficult time into the fold or whatever. When you're bringing young people together who want to serve and work with anyone, how do you inspire people to not get jaded that, you know, oh, here we go
They're
again.
never going to listen to us. Yeah.
Well, the thing is with us, we're youths and we can't teach other youths everything. So that's why we have 8 senior advisors and we have the businesses on board. So things that we can teach our youths, we bring the professionals in because we can't counsel our own youths because us ourselves need counseling as well, you know.
So you have a mentorship type program going on this end.
So we have advisors, directors, and members.
How do you decide what type of work you will be doing? Are you essentially just spreading your tentacles to whatever programs are ongoing? Are you starting your own programs?
That now is a different story. I didn't want to create programs that have already been developed to start something from scratch. So I said, let's create this and let's collaborate with other ministries that have been out there for many years and just team up and do something bigger, do something more inspiring. So BFLA, YES, the Belize Cancer Society, we have all of them on board that will help us train and stuff like that.
Now, ladies, in terms of reaching out to other people, when you tell them about the grouping and try to get people interested, outside of Andrew, who obviously, you know, is very driven and wants to do that, how do you let this flame also spread from your point of view?
Can I go? Okay, well for me, I guess I pretty much hang around anyone and everyone because I realize that, you know, if you just hang around people who are okay, how will you reach to the ones that aren't? So I try to go around them and I usually try to let them see in myself that, you know, change is a good thing because a lot of people look at me as the goody girl and whatnot, but I try to encourage that goodness is good. So when they start to like that personality, that's where I bring in that they could be a part of it as well. And that's where Andrew, Guidelight, everything just comes out, it just pours out, and then they can be a part of the difference. Because I think youths in particular, youths follow youths. That's where peer pressure comes from and all of that. And it's harder for young people to listen to older people because they feel like they don't understand what they're facing and whatnot. So if a young person tries to reach out to a younger person, I think it's a lot more effective. Personally, that's my view.
So you want to be the positive peer pressure in young people's lives.
We want to be the good apples that change the bad apples. You heard a lot of stuff, the bad apples changing. We want the light, we want to shine light on the ones who are doing good now in hope that the ones that are not doing so good might say, you know what? I want to feel appreciated and I want some of what they have and I am willing to work to that. So I want to be a member of the Belize Peer Helpers.
So let me ask you, how will you do that?
How will we do that? Well, on March 14, 1 p.m. at Nazarene High School, we start our training. That's the registration day for peer helpers, volunteers.
Anybody who wants to be a part of the group?
Not anybody who wants to be a part of the group. Anybody who sees the group of that stepping stone to them. Say, you know what, I want to be a leader. I have something to give to Belize. Once you have that mentality, once you have that dream, once you have that drive, once you have that vision to see a better Belize, then we welcome your talent.
What's your age range? Because you spoke about maturity, but maturity
that's
is
a big,
nebulous. Right?
that's a big thing right there.
Yeah.
Well, at this point, we're from like first form to sixth form.
Okay.
Yep.
So you want high school and tertiary level?
Yes.
All right. And do you have a specific target number that you're going after?
Well,
I would say yes, mostly people in high school, the high school students, because we noticed that we have a lot of dropouts, and it's mostly them that the world is targeting. So we want to target them as well in a positive way.
All right. And how is are you doing ongoing recruitment as well, going into the schools, talking to the young people? And what has been the response so far?
You want me to do that?
Any one of you can take it, yeah. Let me ask the sporting director, Cheyenne.
Well, for recruitment, from my, so far, I haven't went out to ask people to come into the group, because from time Guidelight launches, people actually came to me and asked if they can come and join the group. And they asked how can they be a part of the group, and they have stuff like ideas and stuff to do. So, yeah.
And is it equally distributed with gender? Because usually with community service efforts, this is one. Yeah. No, because community service efforts tend to, because women are more nurturing, tend to be something that women are more drawn to than men. And men often feel that it's too soft to go in and work with older people or with babies. So let me ask about the gender distribution, and
has it been hard recruiting boys?
Yeah.
For me personally, I went out and I told people about it, and the response was equal, because it's something new. Guidelight is something new, and it's all young. So people are excited to be on board with us as well, because they want to know what it's all about. So it's really equal.
On my interpretation, I believe that it's more females who are driven to work with Guidelight, because if you look at the directors, there's only 2 male directors and the executive. Only those 3 guys. All the rest are females. So I'm like, wow, we need to try and work and reach out to the males, because I think if we have males, males are stronger, they can work a lot better. And I think they just need to realize that they could be a part of change as well, because if you notice as well, you'd see gangs, they're mostly boys. So if you reach out to stuff like that, I think it could be really beneficial to Belize.
Now, very often initiatives like this target in-school youth. What do you plan to do in terms of getting to people who maybe are more at risk? I don't want to use a broad brush to sweep everybody in the same category, but people who are not engaged in school, how do you plan to reach out to them?
Well, first of all, since we said that you could be a part of Guidelight even though you're not in school, there's the opportunity to be a part of Guidelight as a volunteer. So you don't have to be a peer helper, you don't have to go to school or whatnot. So it's kind of like it's open for everyone and anyone. You're willing, if you want to, you can come. You can be a volunteer.
Now, peer helpers are a very important role. And actually, I think within our lifetimes we can mark when they started to have peer helpers. And now that it's such a frequently discussed, you guys use it so openly, the idea of peer helpers, having them within institutions. Are you getting, what type of training are you getting? Because oftentimes we have really good intentions about wanting to help people, but poor or unhealthy advice, because we may not have been educated in how to assist somebody in difficult situations. So the training is very critical if you'll be working with people in difficult scenarios. So who do you have professionals on board to be able to do so?
Marlene, thank God I did my homework good. So at this point, we have certified professional counselors and trainers, not only for the peer helpers, but I'm actually getting training for my youth directors as well, because we're youths and we don't know what might happen. Because if a peer comes and say, well, and your head big, then I can't start a fight, I can reel it back. So I have to train them on how to be more professional with dealing with peers as themselves.
Excellent.
Now, one thing that you all said that resonated with me very early on was your willingness to also be mentored and to also mentor. Why is that an important consideration? Because a lot of times young people have this idea that they're going to change the world and they're going to wipe away everything else and stuff. So the mentoring, why was that an important part of the entire consideration, that you may have the power, the energy and everything to change the world, but you may also need some mentoring to make sure that you do it in a way that continues to build the world?
Well, William, we created this in a way where we don't just want to jump up and then just fall back down. We want to creep first, and like you said just now, we want to be mentors in order to better the lives of our youth, right? So at this point, we're not fully grown and all that experience and knowledgeable about life. So we have advisors within our organization that we can't make any decisions unless we go to them and say, what do you think about this and stuff like that? Because yes, we have a positive mindset, but we really need not only the 8 advisors, but we really need the adults in society to change their whole mindset about youths right now, because all of them are like, you know what, I wash my hand off of you, so I don't want to deal with them no more. But they have to realize that once you give up on us, you're not just giving up on the youths, you're giving up on the future of Belize, because
next generation,
there's no if, there's no but, and there's certainly no maybe. The same youths you gave up on now are the future politicians, the future teachers, and the future leaders, and they will become leaders to the other generation yet to come.
That's a very important point, because I think that one of the things that tend to happen is that we adults tend to feel that perhaps it's very difficult to get young people engaged in positive things. And while we gladly are exposed to people who work like yourselves, the Belize Peer Health Group, we have all the different NGOs and their volunteers, the volunteer group that just got started as well. So we know there are positive people. Unfortunately, you're not as visible because a new NGO or a new youth group is not headline news, but a teenager that killed another teenager is. So how do you stay motivated, understanding that it is going to be a challenge, and it's present worldwide? You know, you have to be that one voice in the corner shouting to the top of your lungs. How do you stay motivated to want to paint a better picture of what young people in Belize can be and are at this time? We can have 2. Yeah, we can start with one of the ladies and then you, Andrew.
I think by the grace of God we will. Because, I mean, we understand that there's going to be a time when we're going to cry. I remember my first interview, I had school, I had a whole bunch of tests, and I had to be present for a talk show as well. And I realized that there's going to be much more strain than that. So I think it's understanding that it's going to be a process that you have to have patience. You have to be able to endure it, because you know that you want success and you want guideline to stay well. I'm not sure how I want to put this. To stay alive. To stay alive. So I think it's all about understanding that it's going to be a lot of hard work, and that's what motivates us, because we have our meetings and we discuss everything. Anything that's bothering us, we discuss it, because we're almost like a family. So that's how we stay motivated.
So how regularly do you guys meet, and what is a typical meeting like?
Well, I just call up meetings, and I have to realize that they have their own personal lives as well. When something...
So Andrew gets inspired and calls everybody and says, let's meet?
let's meet, and thank God, thanks to the Department of Youth Services, we have access to whole of their facilities. So we use their conference room whenever we meet, and thank God, all meeting just wicked.
Well, that really responds to the next
Yeah.
question I had, which is how do you work with other organizations? Because it is excellent to have young people come together and want to do good.
Yes.
But there's several groups that are starting to form. We have the group that goes out and feed the homeless. We have the volunteer group that came out the other day. Youth Services has their own group
Yeah.
going as well. BFLA has a group. I'm sure I'm missing many others. Red Cross has a group. There's several other NGOs that have a group. So how do you work with others?
Well, we are open to partnership. Like I said, we don't want to be selfish and create something that is already out there, but we want to create it in a way where we could collaborate with them to further.
And how do you distinguish yourself from the rest?
We deal on the actual ground with youths.
Okay.
We deal with them on a weekly basis because youths get a different training at home, they get a different training at school, but what happens when they come into the community?
Now, I have one other question for all of you. When you talk about, I'm trying to, Sabrina, right? Sabrina spoke about the image because a lot of, especially for young men, it's more the thug, the negative behavior that is really championed and lifted up and gives you street credibility and all of that. When you talk about being the good girl and, you know, that goodness is a good thing, how do you get people to actually sit down and talk about that? Because it seems like, you know, like...
And pop culture really
Right.
just advises otherwise.
Wise.
I mean, the cooler thing is to perhaps indulge yourself in other things.
There's a difference between being something and putting on a front. Most of the time, the one sagging, the girl that is doing stuff that she shouldn't be doing, most of the time, they just need somebody to just care. That's all. I really want that light to shine. Oh my gosh, how can I be appreciative in society? And most of the time, what our youths need is attention. Because when I was in high school, I used to get in trouble. And well, I'd be always beg for attention. And I was actually getting it. So that was what made me do what I do now and stuff, you know. A lot of people ask, you me rude back then and you form your own organization now and stuff like that. But that's the thing that makes me very good to actually become a leader now, because I have been through all of that and I could tell teens, I don't want you to face what I faced back then.
As well, to answer your question on my behalf, I'd like to say that sometimes difference is what attracts attention as well. I mean, if you're like everyone else who sags and have all kind of different stuff, that you're blending in. You're blending in just like everyone else. And I think that's how I get people, because I'd like to say that when I go to school, I look like Raggedy Ann. And I think that they see that I'm pretty much like just real and I'm plain. I'm down to earth. And I don't, the only time you'll see me dress up is if I have to go to work or something like that. So they get to see me in my way, my real way, and they get to actually have the opportunity to kind of like understand the realness of me. And I think if everyone has the privilege to do that, you'd really see who your real friends are. Because if you just blend in like everyone else, there's a point you might not even know who you are. And I think that's how people usually get sided, because they aren't, sorry, I just sent the pictures. Yeah. They aren't able to actually be themselves. And I think if you have the privilege to actually learn who you are and be who you are, that's how we could change society.
All right. And I guess at this point, since your training comes up on March 14th, we'll give you the opportunity to be able to look right into the camera to the viewers at home and tell them why they should become a part of the Belize Peer Helpers Group.
My face?
Anybody face.
Okay. My Belize. Yes. I know school is on right now, so parents, once you want a bright future for your teen, because we live in a harsh society right now. We live in a society where pregnancy is a new fashion. We live in a society where our young men are sagging because they actually think it's fashion. We live in a messed up society at this point. So now is that time to make that choice and ask yourself, do I want to continue with that trend, or do I want something different for my youths? Well, something different has been created. Guidelight Production, the first Belize Peer Helpers, is here to guide your child, guide your youth. And we, well, Guidelight Production have directors and advisors who have the passion to work with youth. So on March 14, 2015, that's in 2 weeks' time at Nazarene High School, 1 p.m., that's a Saturday. Please come out if you want your child to be a part of something great, something that will actually be a bright future for them.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us
Thanks
and
very
sharing
much.
your idea with us. And we really hope that the young people do come out on March 14th.
How can they contact you? You're on Facebook?
Yes, we have a
There must be.
Yes, we have a Facebook page. Once you go on that, you'll get the entire everything you want to know about Guidelight Production, Guidelight Production / Belize Peer Helpers. And if you want to call me, you could call me at 665-1704. If you have a group that you would like to partner up with us, just get in contact, because we're a whole family here at Guidelight Production, and we want you to be a part of our family as well.
Okay. Well, keep up the good work.
Thanks very much.
Stay motivated, and we wish you the best of luck.
Thanks very much.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
We're going to go ahead and take our final break, and when we come back, we'll have our wrap-up, so stay tuned.